Okay, thank you very much, Francesco. We'll open for questions, but if you can please state your name and agency. Thank you.
Yes, hi. Thank you for this. I thank you for this briefing on behalf of the UN Correspondent Association. I am Valeria Robecco. I'm a UN correspondent for ANSA, the Italian News Service. I have two questions. There are ongoing discussion on the possibility that the UN Security Council resolution would be under Chapter 7. And would you ever consider the use of force as an acceptable solution? Can you please clarify better your position on the matter? And the second question is, in your opinion, how many migrants the EU can absorb safely in a safe way? Thank you so much.
Yes, of course, for us, the use of force is not the solution. We asked even to the Secretary General to continue his efforts to find a political solution in Libya. And we do always hope that the EU governments finally put the humanitarian imperative at the center of their action. In 2011, after the Gaddafi regime failure, the priorities for the EU governments was the agreement on energy, on oil, on gas, not about the humanitarian imperative. And I hope that this mistake won't happen again in the next future. If in the next weeks the governments and the UN delegate will find a political solution to the Libyan crisis, for example. So for us, it's not a solution, bombing the boats. This must be very clear, because the traffickers will find other routes. We cannot forget that the other route is coming from Turkey, from the Aegean Sea. Even some of them try to reach the Greek island from swimming. And this is something that we have to consider. We cannot think that turning our head, or that they are not dying close to our borders, that means that they will not continue to die. So this is our position. That is not bombing the boats for us is not the solution. It could be, of course. We have to fight the traffickers. That is a shame. But bombing the boats, only bombing the boats, is not a solution. It's only a way to clean our consciousness. It's something for us that is not enough. The second question was about
how many migrants can Europe absorb legally, I guess.
At the moment, this is not. It's a question without an answer, because there is no. With the Dublino agreement, this is the weight is all on the shoulders of Italy and Spain and Greece. And the coincidence is that these are the three countries that are most affected by the economical crisis. So, again, principles and values must lead the action of the EU. This is something that must be very clear. Humanitarian principle. Then about the number, if we consider the total number of refugees across the world, we are less than 15% are hosted in Europe. So only the 15% is hosted in Europe. Other continents are doing much more. So I think that we must increase our efforts from those who are fleeing because of conflicts and war and insecurity that often are created even by us.
Matthew.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Matthew Lee, Inner City Press, on behalf of the Free UN Coalition for Access. Thanks a lot for this timely briefing. I saw an interview you did with ITV television, where at least at one point it was unclear to your organization where 28 people who'd been rescued were taken. So I wanted to know the specifics. What are the rights of people? I mean, both what are their rights and what's your process for gaining access to people that are rescued? And also, what is very specifically the status of trying to improve search and rescue operations by either European ships or other ships? How much funds would it require? Would it require a decision in Brussels? Are countries able to do it on their own? What would you like countries to do, beginning today, so that people don't die at sea?
About the last question, I think that facts and figures are talking by themselves. This is Triton is not like Mare Nostrum. It's very clear. And Mare Nostrum saved, and even the number of deaths is increased 51% after the closure of Mare Nostrum. So this is the evidence that Mare Nostrum saved life, and it costed 9 million per month. So I wonder why the now EU is spending 9 million per month after the last EU meeting immediately after the tragedy. But then again, all the operation was led by the Italian Navy and the Italian Coast Guard, and this is a fact. About the 28, if you mean the process, of course, they will meet the commission, and they will be interviewed by the commission to verify if there are conditions to receive the humanitarian protection or not. And this is all the migrants that arrive on our docks pass through this process. I met them immediately after that very night when they arrived, and I have the opportunity to talk with a few of them. And what is in my mind, but not only in my mind, in my heart, this was the words coming from one of them, and I repeated this word today to the UN Secretary General about the priority to solve the Libyan crisis. Said to me, once that you enter in Libya, even if you change mind, you cannot go back to your country. You are not anymore free. You are pushed with the guns to go on the boat. And he told me several times, repeating, of course, he was under shock, but he repeatedly, you cannot imagine how hard is the situation in Libya. So the process is always the same, but the fact is that the majority of these people don't want to stay in Italy. They do want to reach their own families, their relatives in Europe. So this is a Europe issue. It's not only an Italian issue. This is must be very clear. And this is the reason why then at the end, when you verify the figures, comparing the number of the people processed that go under interviews and the number that arrived on the docks is completely different, because most of them, they escape and they go in Europe without any interviews, and they become illegal, most of them. So without a European solution, we are creating other people that is going to live at the borders of our society. This is a fact. This is the reason, another reason why it must be a EU issue that cannot be solved only at the Italian border or the Greek border or at the Spanish border.
We'll go back and then
Thank you. Somini Sengupta from the New York Times. If the EU begins these military operations to seize smuggling boats in Libya, what do you propose should be done with the migrants on these boats? Should they be given a safe corridor into Europe? Should they be kept in Libya?
But without, I don't want to seem naive, of course, because it's a very difficult and complex situation. But just because there is this complex crisis in Libya, the solution to save lives and to put the human being, the dignity and the life of these people at the center is not bombing the boats. The military operation won't lead to the heart of the purpose that EU said, save lives. When the house is burning, we don't wait that the fire burn us. We find desperately to find a solution, and these people will find other traffickers ready. And we know, because the movement, the Red Crescent movement is present in each of these countries. that there are other points of origin of the traffickers in Egypt, in Sudan, in Turkey, in Lebanon. This is it's not only based in Libya. And if you look at another route coming from the Horn of Africa, because most of us think, of course, and this, which is true about Syria crisis, but the route of the migrants that come from Horn of Africa, it's half of them come through Libya, another half come through Turkey. It's another option. So I think the approach must be a comprehensive approach from EU, and cannot be fixed only bombing the boats.
Yes, please. Thank you very much for being here. We actually were waiting for you for a long time, not because you were not working hard, it's just because here was just recently has been called an emergency. We don't understand how it can be an emergency, something that goes on for years. My name is Stefano Vaccara, I'm for La Voce di New York and Radio Radicale in Rome. My question is, you saw today the Secretary General. What you would like to do, what did you say to the Secretary General? What would you like to do, what you would like that the Secretary General do now? What do you think that Secretary General can do? And then this is about Italy. We read Prime Minister Renzi writing the proposal for the first time about bombing the boats on the New York Times here. Did the Italian government look for any advice from you, or did it look for you in the sense that, you have been working for several years now in this? What is your relationship of the Red Cross with the Italian government in this moment?
Okay. First of all, I fully agree. This is not an emergency. It's like during the summer, you say is hot, or that is snowing in January. Is something that is going on without any solution, and started 20 years, more than 20 years ago. I'm involved in the migration response as a volunteer since 1988. And the route was always the same. I remember receiving people escaping from Eritrea at the time, in 88. And still now we are receiving people from Eritrea in Italy. And so we are calling an emergency what is not. What is the consequences of the inaction of the international community, or bad action of the international community. So what I told to the Secretary General is to continue his force, his capacity of moral suasion of the governments to put the human being at the center, to stop to label the migrants as illegal. And we appreciated the force of the SG, because it's always recall the human rights and the needs of these people, and the need to be protected for most of them. About the relation with the government, of course, we had a discussion, but about not the international solution, but about the internal strategy, how to host. There is a continuous discussion with the government, and even at regional and local level, and how to better distribute the migrants and the people asking for humanitarian protection in Italy. Never about the international solution. We had only talk about the practical and logistic humanitarian action in Italy. As I said, this is my opinion, that bombing is not the solution. It could be part of a solution, but in a complete different context.
Yeah, just to add, I think one relevant point that the SG has raised, and we agree with him, and that is the need to provide legal avenues for some of those migrants to find their ways into Europe, including the SG mentioned scholarships for students and job opportunities, legal job opportunities for those. And these are things which we support. So go here and then at the back, and they will come back.
Sir, I'm Carol Landry with AFP.
Okay.
So you were very clear about your point about not bombing the boats, but do you have any thoughts about what to do with the smugglers and the smuggling networks? You said you can't shut them down; they'll just move to another platform of action, but surely something can be done on that front.
Yes, I told her that I don't want to seem or to look naive. We have to fight smugglers and traffickers. This is a priority. But find a legal path for the people who flee, because this is the contradiction that we are living. There are no legal way to have access in Europe and to be protected while these people is escaping from violence, war. How can you stop a mother who try to save their daughters in Nigeria? How can you stop a father who lost one son and want to save the other two, escaping from Syria? These people will try desperately to reach a better place, a protected place. So the approach must be a comprehensive approach. Fighting the smugglers, fighting the traffickers, put them in prison, but at the same time find a legal way, because there is the humanitarian imperative. For us, the dignity and the life of these people is a priority. If we bomb and we let them die in Libya, is not a solution. This must be very clear. Because in this moment, the people will continue to die. And there are hundreds of thousands in Libya in this moment. Hundreds of thousands. Who will protect them? Who will take care of them?
Yes, some time ago, Thomas Bogdanovich, who had an NGO, World Youth Bank Forum, was trying to work with Trieste and Italy, and also the areas that are under the control of Croatia, I think, and I'm sure I'm right, Slovenia, to arrange some type of important dormitories and even a form of education for all of these migrants as a holding pen, because it's not a country, that area. It's under UN jurisdiction, and then under that circumstance, it could be examined how some of these refugees could be reoriented to areas that would be suitable to them to be able to ply their trade. And I don't know if anything followed through with that, because Mr. Thomas Bogdanovich unfortunately died last year. So it's like in flotsam and jetsam. But it was official talks with Trieste and Croatia.
This is a good point, and of course I do think that we have to work even on this kind of solution. But this just to remind me another point that I forgot a few seconds ago. Balkans is the Balkan are the other route that the migrants are using to enter in Europe. Last week, in the silence of most of the media, 12 died invested by a train because they to find Europe. 117. I remember 12, but several died because they followed the railway to reach Europe. And on a daily basis, they arrive even in Italy from that route. And there are traffickers even in that route. Back to your question. So there are not only the traffickers in Libya. There are many routes used by the traffickers. So this could be a solution, but we must find the legal path from people who has the right to be protected. In other way, the UN resolution for and convention for the political asylum and for the humanitarian protection are only empty words.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. I'd like to know, Excellency, there are thousands of Rakhine Muslims from Myanmar using boats and every other means to escape Burma or Myanmar, as you know, because of persecution over there. Are they at this point in time? Are you aware of the situation that exists there, and as to how many refugees are leaving Burma or Myanmar in order to escape persecution?
Our colleagues of ICRC are working hard in the Burma, and of course, when I talked about people escaping from war and conflict, social insecurity, I was referring to all the different, several aspects and the countries which these people is escaping. But and this, of course, include even Burma if this is happening. But ICRC for sure is working hard, and even in Burma.
But do you have any idea as to how many of them are, died and trying to escape by boats and other means?
Yeah, not really. I mean, we can look into this. We know that the Red Cross societies around the region, including Myanmar, including the Malaysian, where many of the Rohingya try to cross to, and Indonesia, they are working to assist, as the Italian Red Cross is working to assist those migrants coming from Africa and Middle East. But we can look into this, and if you're interested, you can visit the website, whether it's the IFRC.org or ICRC.org. I'm sure you'll find more, but I'm happy to get back to you with some information. We have to go.
Thank you. Sir, I didn't quite finish. Please forgive me. But in the case of Libya, and of course many Arabs are going there, you have so much desert in the Arab world. And today, with the technology there is to grow food and grow vegetation, and to have literally cities there, couldn't there be an area of that desert area that could be designated for development there? It's just plain desert right now.
This is a long-term program. It could be. I'm not an environmental engineer, but for sure it could be. But for us, the priority is now. Now we have to face what you are suggesting is something that it's up to come. It's very far, and the international community must invest in this. But at the moment, I don't see any other solution. That the only one is to find a legal path to our country.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rocca, just thank you for this very interesting briefing. My colleague Stefan and me, we were waiting for this one. Indeed, just 3 points of clarification, if you may. When you are talking about the bombing as a solution, solution to solve the problem or to put it aside somehow, is this option now abandoned, as you know, or it's still as an option and it's going on? And number two, talking about the migrants, going back to the Valerie's question, first one, migrants going to Europe, do you have some projection of how many migrants could be expected to face the coast of Europe? The first coast is Italy, of course, and then Croatia, Slovenia, etc. Do you have some projection? And concretely, to address that question of Valerie, how much migrants Europe can absorb indeed, beside these 15% that you mentioned? Thank you.
I'm informed just by maybe the same news that you have. I think that bombing is still an option and is still on the EU agenda. So
What does the Secretary General told you on that?
It said that we didn't. We only mentioned that this is. I mentioned that this is not an option, And I think the answer for the Secretary General was that we must find a legal path. We must find a legal approach to save the life of these people. And he told me that he's going to come in the EU in few weeks. I think I don't remember if the end of the month to push EU to put the humanitarian imperative at the center. But what I heard is that it's still on the agenda.
What about the numbers?
About the numbers, we do expect a higher number compared to last year, a higher number compared to last year, that which we received 170,000 only from Italy. Then if you add people coming from Spain and other Greece, we went to over 200,000, 215. Unless if you divide it for the number of the EU countries, is less than 7,000 for each countries. So it's if you try to do this kind of joke, about the number of cities or village distributing in each countries, it's a number that I think there is still enough space to do fair and concrete action in Europe. The problem is the shared responsibility, the shared will to approach this issue. This is the main problem, because I'm afraid that with this vicious circle, xenophobia is increasing. We are not facing only the challenge of the humanitarian response, but this is what we are facing is even the cultural environment in which I grew up in a country where solidarity and the humanitarian values was the heart of our life. Now we see xenophobia is increasing. And all the politicians are fear to give clear responses, because they are looking for consensus and not to put the human being at the center of the action. So if we don't find a shared responsibility, a shared and common vision, without being a politician, only putting the human being at the center of the response of the EU, I don't think that we will find a solution to this other challenge, huge challenge that we are facing in Europe. Look, in Italy, in Greece, but even in the Nordic countries, xenophobia is increasing. This is a fact. So without a comprehensive approach from the EU, this is a very, very dangerous phenomenon.
Yeah, thank you. Just to give you some figures, I think last year UNHCR published a report which said that we have the highest refugee population since the Second World War. Today, or in 2014, there were more than 42.5 million people, refugees and internally displaced. So you can imagine, of those, there is around 3 million in Africa. Again, back to the question of Myanmar, I have some figures here where it says there were 54,000 people who have undertaken to cross the sea, mostly from Myanmar and Bangladesh into that region. So you have a high number of refugees due to the conflicts and crises around the world. The majority, there is a huge number in Africa, which one could say this increases the pressure on those migration routes. And these are potentially quite a dangerous routes for people who will attempt to get away from these crises. The back there is.
Hi, thank you for the briefing. I'm Gabriel Elizondo from Al Jazeera English Channel. Two brief questions. Number one is, what to do with migrants that are rescued at sea? Do you think the current system in place is satisfactory? And if not, why? Second question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what grade would you give the European Union collectively in their response to this crisis, taking Italy out of it?
Could you repeat the second question?
Second question is, what grade would you give the European Union in their response to the crisis so far? I'm trying to get a sense of how satisfied or not you are with the EU response overall.
No, I think that I answered at the beginning to your both your questions. I mean, in this moment, we are not satisfied about the operation in the Mediterranean Sea. Too many are still dying, while technology increased a lot in the past years. They knew perfectly, if you visit an army center that use the satellites, they are able to see even the name of the boat. So this is something very strange that we have to wait the phone call to the Red Cross headquarters in Rome or in Geneva from a boat that we have to inform the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard go to take and to rescue. Then this is linked to the second question. Triton. Triton, I said, look and facts and figures. It's not the Rocca or the Red Cross opinion. Facts and figures are talking for me. The Triton led really few rescue operation in the last weeks. In the last 3 days, only one was led by a French ship. The other all by the Coast Guard. And then there is another dangerous stuff, because you remember the tragedy of a few weeks ago happened because a commercial ship tried to make the rescue operation and the migrants. So if the people is not, this is the reason why we decided to don't deploy any ship as Red Cross to save life, because you need people well prepared as the Coast Guard men are. This is you need well training to approach this little boat. Because this is the most of the people died during in the moment of rescue, because they move very fast to reach the Navy ship, and they fall in the water, and most of them they are not able to swim.
Okay, maybe last 2-3 questions we go around. Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
And then,
Me?
yes.
Thank you. Anna Guaita, Messaggero in Rome. You were speaking about xenophobia. I can tell you from the letters that my newspaper receives daily, you're very right. There is a growing is an understatement, uneasiness about the influx of people from Africa. And I understand that aside from the fear about our economy being the way it is and everything, many people think that there are no safe, they're not a safe process to make sure that among the migrants who do actually have all the rights in this world to ask for help are not hidden terrorists from ISIS or Al-Shabaab or whatever. Do you have an answer for these fears?
I have my opinion. It's not the answer. Maybe I'm not the owner of the truth, of course. But looking at the tragedy happened in Europe in the last month, but even looking in the past years, the terrorists were hidden at the border of our city, or maybe in the heart of our cities, of our towns. And this is this vicious circle that is creating and is feeding terrorism. The people who indeed they are so desperate, they are only trying to escape. Well, if we don't, they don't find the right and the right cultural approach, the risk is that in the future, but they are not hidden terrorists in the both. If you see in Palermo yesterday, in 300 migrants that arrived, 90 were women, 41 were children. This is people that is escaping from war. It's the terrorists are, if they are just in our town. They are not arriving with the boat. Then someone is feeding this fear. Someone. Yeah, is using the fear of the unknown, because the political consensus. But the facts are that all the terrorists in Europe lived in our towns. They're well known by the neighbors. No one of these migrants has become a terrorist in the last year. So maybe this is again our facts. We prefer to use facts and figures that not only opinion. Facts are that the terrorists that we know didn't come with the boat.
We'll take the last two questions. I know people have three. Okay. Yes, go ahead, please. And then.
Thank you. Sorry. Do you think that the center... Sorry, I have laryngitis. Do you think